Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, EECS 298, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us. As I said on the Discord server, today is probably going to be kind of more of a demonstration day. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter lecture. And I'll be completely honest with you, I've started to struggle pretty heavily with keeping up with the course content. In particular, the amount of time it's taking to create these homeworks with the amount of UI and problems you can run into Unity with Unity is eating up so much of my time that I'm focusing on the homeworks because I think those are the most important thing for you. And my lectures aren't having enough time to get formalized. Part of that is me mismanaging my time. Part of that is simply the task ahead is very difficult. So I really appreciate your patience. A reminder, right? You are our guinea pigs this semester, but it's it feels pretty bad for me when I can't give you a great experience because you deserve that even if you are guinea pigs. So know that I appreciate you. I appreciate your patience and the risk that you've taken taking a course in its debut semester. Unfortunately, on a day like today, that risk actually bears out. And so you don't have a formalized lecture on interactions. But what I can do is we can do a little bit of improv. One of my mentors, Jeremy Bond, was just the master of improv. I am not the master of improv, but I'm still going to try and show you some interesting things today that can hopefully give you some ideas that will be useful for next week and for your final project, which is not that far away. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. In fact, look at the schedule. You can see the very end of your daily models. Okay. Hopefully that sounds like music to your ears. Within a few weeks, you are 1, 2, 3 weeks away from the end of your daily models. So after that, you can just focus on that final custom project. You'll have 3 weeks for it, but actually it's a 2-week assignment because we give you all of Thanksgiving week off, all right? We don't assume you're going to do anything on that week. And our grading expectations are going to assume you didn't have that week to work on, okay? So that is something for you to keep in mind. All right, so, and I just keep saying so, huh? Do that when I'm tired. A few announcements. I'm so sad. Like I wish you could see me over there. And they can see me a little bit better now. But we have a Thursday IGDA session happening tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. It's going to be Corbin Reeves, who is taught at Lawrence Tech, Kettering, EMU, and taught basically everywhere. Teaches here now a little bit. He's going to be talking about the rise of indie games, micro games, small games. These days, everywhere you look, big AAA studios and even big film companies are struggling, right? In the past, it used to be a big advantage for you to have a 300-person team, for you to have the best graphics, the best technology. But these days, for better in many ways, but also for worse in some ways, what really matters is not the size of your team, but the quality of your ideas and how quickly you can get them to the player. And so we see that a lot of indie teams, smaller teams, and AA teams, 20-person teams, 5-person teams, solo creators, like the person who made Flow, seem to be kind of eating up more and more of the market share and really, making some things happen. So Corbin is going to kind of talk about that phenomena, I believe, and he's going to talk about how studios can survive as small teams. And that might be very relevant to you if you think you might want to go with a smaller team or make your own things, be an entrepreneur in the future, okay, in art. So it's also, you get a little bit of extra credit for attending events like this, immersing yourself in the local community and culture. That is going to help your future. That is going to help your education a little bit, so you get a little bit of extra credit for that. Okay? There is a research team on campus. It's a feast research team. So you're not going to get paid in money. You get paid in course credit. That's kind of how that works. They are recruiting game dev student talent. So if you know Unity, if you know how to 3D model, then they want to hear from you, okay? This is a really cool use case for game dev. This is using game design and game development and animation and modeling to preserve ancient artifacts. I believe they're ancient Iranian artifacts. If you're interested in this, I will send me a message, okay, on Discord or on email, and I will send you the professor's contact information. She only wants to hear from our game dev students, so I have to kind of protect the information a bit. But this is a fantastic way to get course credit, but also get a lot of experience and build a relationship with a research professor. Any of you thinking about possible grad school in the future, those research professor letters of recommendation are pure gold for getting into grad school. If you do a good job at EECS 298, like you're already doing, you can get one letter from me. If you ask, I will give it to you. But I'm not a research professor, and you need 2 other letters as well. So it'd be really nice if you can get 2 other letters, especially from people doing actual research. Research is what graduate school is about, okay? It's not just undergrad part 2 or advanced undergrad. It is teaching you how to be a researcher to produce high quality knowledge that other people can then build upon. So, yeah, know that, all right? If this is of interest to you, then ping me, and I will send you the professor's contact information so you can then send the portfolio. Hey, by the way, maybe you don't have a portfolio, an online digital portfolio, but actually all of you do. What can you send the research professor right now? Bingo, okay? And a little preview. Yeah, I got to do this technology. I got to program a lot of stuff over the next few days. But what's going to happen is you're going to very soon have another tab on your daily model gallery. So one tab is going to show the 3D models like you're used to, but the next tab is actually going to have the games you're making, okay, and different builds you're making as well. And so pretty soon you're going to be able to see both your models and then the games that use those models on your daily model gallery. So look forward to that. It might look a bit funky while I kind of, work on it, but hopefully that'll go okay. We'll see. Okay, so I think that's everything that I have for you right now. How many of you have started homework 9? Okay, how's it going for you so far? Unity is kind of like, Unity is a bit of a pain in the butt. I think I've seen some issues where like it's uploading, but then it didn't upload, but then you upload again and it works. What are you stuck on? What's causing difficulty? I'm just curious. Like launching a new video game, sometimes you just don't know. By the way, I was told that Greek Tragedy, the game you've sometimes seen referenced in homeworks, my indie game is coming out tomorrow. Yeah, and I like just learned about that. It's like, okay, all right, well, I hope people like it. I don't know. I hope it's good. If it's not good, I hope no one plays it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it'll be okay. I think the game is like all right. I made a lot of mistakes on that game. And I know my game has been edited a ton. The porting and localization team members made a lot of changes. So, okay, yes?
It's not good stuff, but it's weird that like the first build on the web, it never come out correctly. And I need to go back into product setting and check and uncheck and then check the better minimal.
Yeah.
Like every time.
I don't really know why Unity is making us do that. It could be a bug within Unity itself, which is not something we have a lot of power to fix. I also wonder, maybe we are giving you the URL for your game before the upload has finished. Because we know when the upload has finished, but we don't necessarily know when some of the cache invalidation has finished. I don't know. Like, I'm going to investigate it. Maybe we'll find something. Maybe we just have to keep doing that. I don't know. But hopefully it's worth it. Okay, anything else? What's causing problems? Yes?
For me, it was also build issues.
Yeah.
It just kept saying access, like, denied.
Yeah.
I just kept pressing it.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked yet, but hopefully when I get home, it might work.
Yeah, actually.
Probably I was having before that, it wouldn't update like my build. It was still using my ball game build at first.
Really?
When I tried to upload it, but
yeah,
eventually it switched over.
Okay.
I had to build it, and it was like access denied.
Strange. Well, hang out a little bit if you can for the office hours, because I can actually go into the server and I can kind of look at what might be happening. So yeah, let's debug that together after we're done here. Okay. Okay, rock and roll. Hopefully homework 10 will be a good time for you. Homework 10 is where I think a lot of the kind of training wheels are going to start to come off. You're going to have more freedom with the test bed. There will be a little bit of help because what we're going to do is we're going to build the facial animation together for the Daisy character, which is going to be kind of funky because we're going to have to create a bunch of different planes with different UVs assigned to them. So like one plane is going to be for like the angry eyes, one's going to be for like dizzy eyes, one's going to be for happy eyes, and we're going to assign them to detached bones so that you can animate the facial expression of a character by just moving a bone in and out, in and out. And a reminder, sometimes you just do amazing hacky things like this, but you hide facial expressions by taking the bone that brings the facial expression out and you actually move it inside of the face of the head of the character. That's one way you can do it. And I think that's going to be the most convenient for us in our current setup. So we'll teach you how to do that on homework 10, but then we're going to take the training wheels off and we're just going to tell you to start bringing things in. Make a cool big object that you can platform on. You know, make some other interesting stuff, okay? Get some audio going, all right? Go use the recording booth, stuff like that. If anyone is worried about a jam at the recording booth, if you can't get in, you run out of slots, I think we're going to let you record from home, just like to make sure you don't miss the whole assignment. But and I think we'll also let you get a friend to do a recording as well. If the character you're going to do doesn't fit your voice, or if you're just too nervous or something like that, okay? All right, so what do we want to do today? What do we want to do today? Well, on the homework, we have this really interesting topic of interactions. And the interaction system is actually something that does not exist within Unity itself, okay? Unity will not give you any easy way to make code and logic out of just pure components. And so this is one of those things that you ask your engineering team for, okay? Some of you are engineers, some of you aren't. But this course kind of assumes you are the artist on your team. One of the most important things to know is as the artist on your team, there are many things you just can't really accomplish very effectively without asking for that technical support. You say, engineering team, I need X, Y, and Z. Please, this is why I need it. And if you've got a good engineering team, they should be able to provide those things based on the resources they have, okay? So, how many of you have gotten to the interactions on the homework? Okay, that's a really cool problem. That also took me like several days to make. That was brutal. And what I want to do is I want to kind of show you a little bit. You've seen a little bit of this before, but there's this idea of a game object in Unity. And this game object, by default, it's just a cube, and we can make it a little bit bigger. Notice as we make it bigger, our transform component where that data is stored actually changes. But look at this cube. Tell me all about this cube, okay? Someone tell me what makes this cube really cool. Or if nothing does, well, tell me about that too.
Is it a platform?
What's that?
Is it a platform?
It could be a platform. Why could it be a platform?
Could be an interactable game object in the sense that like you can physically touch it.
So, you're right. When you look at a game object in Unity, that game object is nothing without its components. Okay, you see this cube? Right now, I can go into this cube, or I can go into this game, and I can jump on the cube. That would make it a great little building block for a platforming challenge, right? Got my little snake here, solid snake. I can jump on it. I can bump into it. That's pretty good, right? But I can only do this because it has the components to do so. How many components? Tell me right now, how many components does this cube have? I've got it selected. Right now. Yes. 4. One of those is a box collider, okay? What happens if I turn the box collider off by unchecking this box? What's gonna happen?
You won't be able to fully interact with the box.
Bingo, watch this. Ah! And now I'm in the box. The box is still rendering, but Unity doesn't have any notion of the physical shape of this box, okay? Why can I see its true shape, but I can't run into it? So here's a really fundamental thing in game design that you've got to know. The way that something looks is almost never the way that something collides, okay? A reminder, this snake right here, tell me what shape this snake is right now. That thing...
Oh, it's pill shape, right?
Bingo. That thing looks like it's kind of a bendy tube shape, but actually, that's not the shape of this snake. That's only the way it looks, okay? Because if I press the escape key right here, or sorry, the pause button, and you can always do this, by the way. If you're confused in Unity, press the pause button and just start clicking. If I go to this snake and I just kind of look at it, this snake object is just like a little model in a chain of objects. And if I go up, look at that. I can see that the shape of my actual character is this kind of capsule pill shape. Now, why would games do this? Because every game does this. Almost every game. You've got this super detailed, beautiful character with all these intricacies, and you look at them under the hood, and it's actually just a capsule. It's capsules all the way down. Okay? Capsules and cubes and spheres. Yes? Exactly. Simple shapes like cubes, spheres, and capsules are much more performant. They have much better performance. It's much faster to calculate collisions between a cube and a capsule than between a cube and this crazy weird snake shape, okay, with all of its detail. You can do it. You use something called a mesh collider. Mesh colliders are expensive, okay? You do not want to have too many of those. Yes?
Is this the same as the concept of a hitbox?
Bingo. Oh, yeah. So a hitbox is something we might get to in this course. It comes up if we talk about combat. So a hitbox in a video game, in a fighting game, a character might have a move that looks like this, right? And it's super cool, but there's going to be a hitbox, a cube or rectangle that kind of goes around, but not very precisely, but around the character's fist. And if an enemy gets hit by that hitbox, you consider the attack to have landed. For those of you who don't know what on earth I'm talking about, hitbox, Street Fighter, let's see here. Can we actually see it? Yeah, here's a great example, okay? So if you look here, right, we have a hitbox in red for this aerial attack, but then we have all these green boxes. These are called hurt boxes. If a red box touches a green box, that's kind of an unfortunate picking of colors, right? You wonder if the dev team had any colorblind people. But this might have been put on like in post by a fan. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. But if a red hitbox, which you can see up here faintly, touches a green hurt box, then the hurt boxes get hurt, okay? This allows an artist to figure out, okay, what part of the attack is going to be the damaging part? But if you hit someone while they're attacking from behind, you can hit them while they're attacking, and you can decide whether their big hair is going to be vulnerable. Like if you've got a character with a really cool hairstyle, it's like, is the hair vulnerable, or do you have to hit them kind of closer to their actual body? Well, you can decide that by moving around hitboxes and hurt boxes, okay? We might do hitboxes, but actually I think we might not. If we do combat at all this semester, we're probably going to do a very simple approach where we just detect if you're currently in an attacking state, and if you are, you attack, right? Okay. So, but this cube, okay, I turned off the box collider, but I could turn it back on, and now it is back in business and colliding. I could also remove it. I can grab it via these dots and go remove component, and now it's just gone. It's gone forever. I could add another box collider on, or you know what I could do? You see this box collider? You know what would go really well with it? How about a sphere collider? Yeah, a sphere collider. Okay, you see how I'm now kind of on top, but I'm rolling off of it like this? Our box might look like a box, but under the surface, do you see what I'm seeing? Do you see this? It is a sphere, okay? So this is the important takeaway for the moment. Often in a game, it is capsules all the way down. No matter how beautiful the game looks, the way that the game will play and the way the physics will work is going to be spheres, cubes, capsules, okay? That's what a collider is all about. Now, this box has collisions, but it doesn't have physics. It doesn't have gravity. I can grab this box like this. Isn't Unity just awesome? I can like be playing the game and I can edit the game while I'm playing it. Isn't that crazy? This box is just going to hang out up here unless I give it a very special component that you learned about last week. There's like a magical component that gives things physics in Unity. If you forget what it ever is, you can go to Add Component. You can go to the Physics category and you'll find it. What is it called? The rigid body. Absolutely. The rigid body. You give this and look at that. It just comes flying down. But more than that, it has gravity, but now we can push it around. And you can see this cube shape, right? This cube shape is just going for it. You know what would be crazy? Like, aren't there like a bunch of animes based on soccer or something?
Oh my god.
Like imagine like a 3D platformer themed around like one of the soccer animes, and you have to move on by like getting the big soccer ball, like pushing it into a like a trigger of some sort, okay? So actually, wait a second, why don't we do that? We're gonna make a really cool interaction where this isn't any snake, this is the snake soccer anime. Everyone says that a snake can't play soccer, but we're going to prove them wrong. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to Sketchfab and we need to find ourselves a soccer ball. And here's the, oh, too many requests. What?
Too many soccer balls.
Oh no. Too popular. I think, oh no. What? I think all the game devs are trying, they have the same idea today. Did I delete it? Did I delete it? No, I didn't. Let's go. Always prepared. Always prepared. Okay. So we have this soccer ball right here, and I'm going to give it the rigid body. And so what's going to happen when we play the game right now? This is your little test, okay? What's going to happen right now when we play this game? Look at the soccer ball game object, but a game object is nothing without its components. So what components does it have?
Rigid body.
Rigid bodies, so what does that mean?
It means you can interact with it.
Okay, yeah, physics, right? Gravity, okay, you can push it around. Is this going to collide like a cube or a sphere or...
I don't think it's going to collide at all.
Watch this, okay? I'm going to put this in the air. We're going to play the game. Watch the ball carefully. I'm actually going to pause the game immediately so we can really get the right angle and watch what's going to happen. I pause the game, and I'm going to get my scene view like right here. Watch the soccer ball. Whee! Okay, what went wrong? We were missing a component, right? Components. We didn't have the component we needed. Yes?
Collider?
We need a collider component. Should we get the box collider?
Sphere collider.
Exactly, sphere collider. You can actually just type collider and you get all these great options, but you want the sphere collider. We can zoom in on this sphere collider. Can we find the sphere? Look at this. The sphere collider is too small. What's going to happen now? You can predict what's going to happen. Look at how small the sphere collider is. The ball looks like it's this big, but Unity thinks it's this big. So what's going to happen? It's going to look kind of funny.
They're gonna like go inside the soccer ball.
Yeah. Now you can decide if you like this. I think this actually looks really good because it's like buried in the sand,
Yeah.
right? Maybe we could add a particle system. It's like kicking up some sand, right? I think that looks amazing, actually. I just want a bit of particles and it look really good. But the game design calls for us pushing the soccer ball into a goal. And when the soccer ball goes into the goal, we want to launch an interaction that's going to spawn some goodies for us. Or maybe open up a door to let us through to the next area. Now, I did not test this ahead of time, so if it doesn't work, I'm going to have to go fix some bugs and then, give you a new version of the test bed. But here's what we want to do, everyone. Let's create a goal, and I'm going to be really sloppy with it, okay? I'm just going to make a goal out of a few cubes. Something the homework doesn't talk that much about is the topic of parenting. So I'm going to create this little goal here, which is kind of cool. And I've got one side of the goal, and I've got the other side of the goal. And I'm going to create I'm going to create a couple more parts of the goal. So let's just resize it. How many of you have not gotten used to the hotkeys yet? And you're like, oh, these hotkeys don't make any sense. Well, most of the time people learn Unity first. They learn these hotkeys. And then they say the Blender hotkeys make no sense. Okay, so you went the opposite direction. Anyway, so let's go ahead, and we got the top goalpost now, and I'm going to just extend this like this and bring it up like this. We got a little backing now. I want it to be a little bit deeper, so I'm going to take all three of these and scale them like this. Nice, all right? So we have this wonderful little goal net, but I want to move the goal net around, and I don't want to have to click everything like this, and oh, it's so annoying. And if I miss a block, then I move it, and it's like, oh no, it's falling apart now, right? So what can I do? What's the technique you can do in Unity? And again, I'm bringing this up because I don't think the homeworks go over it that much. Yes? Yeah, this is called parenting. Now, you see all these cubes that make up our goal? We can take three of these and then drag them, I'm on the left here, drag them under the one, and now we have a nice little goal here, okay? I can then rename this into goal, and now I can actually copy and paste to spawn more goals if I want to. And we can even rotate them all as a group. That's kind of cool. What I should probably do is I should actually take this goal, go to my objects folder, and I'm actually going to create a little folder for the goals just so we can be organized. And then I'm going to drag the goal game object into my project pane. Boom, I just made what's called a prefab. It's a blueprint. It's a class. I can now instantiate as many of these as I want. I can have them all. And if I want to change them all, I don't change them individually. I grab the prefab, I grab the blueprint, and I can change them all at once. I can make them all wider. I can make them all taller. Okay? Just like that. Okay? So that's something you definitely want to know. Anyway, I only need one goal right now, so let's go ahead and just kind of get rid of some of these. Let's grab that one, and I want to kind of bring it over here. We're going to be testing this, so I want this to be very fast to test it. That ball is way too big, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Let's actually make this bigger. So I made this bigger. Now you say, well, all the other goals are going to be small. Well, I can take this one goal that I've edited, I can go to overrides, and I can say apply to the prefab. And now that change is going to be reflected on all of my goals, okay? So interacting and dealing with prefabs is a really big deal, and they're very nice once you get used to them. So anyway, what do I need to do here? I need my ball to be pushed into this goal, and the goal has to detect that the ball just went through it. And it has to do some stuff. We should start by just having it say a message, like goal, right? But how are we going to do this? You might say, well, interactions. Those are the way we do everything. And you're right. That's what we're going to do here as well. So let's go into, let's do this. Within this goal, I'm going to create one more object, okay? Open the goal. I'm going to right-click. I'm going to go to create a 3D object, another cube. Where did that cube go? Here it is. Wait, Yeah, no, there it is. I'm going to make it like the size and shape of the goal, like this. But you know what? I don't want it to be visible. This is just a little trigger. So I'm going to call this trigger, not cube, and I'm going to turn off its render so we can't see it. We still have the collider there. The game object is still there. It's just you can't see it, okay? You can't see it, but it can still detect stuff, and that's what we really care about. So, are you ready? I'm going to run over here. I'm going to jump into the goal. I'm going to pretend I'm the soccer ball. I'm going to jump right in, okay? So, here we go. And here we go. I'm going to jump right into it, and here we go. And, hold on, wait, I'll try. Okay, what's the problem here? I want things to be able to go into the goal, but I can't even get in there myself. What happened? What's the problem? Well, here's something that you gotta know, and it's a very tricky concept when you're getting started with Unity and game engines in general. This is a collider in the physical sense. We have a collider component right here. In fact, it's our only component aside from these two. And now this one, transform. Every game object has to have a transform. That's the law. And so the thing to know is that this collider is a physical collider. You're going to smash right into it. You can't go through it. Okay? Trying to go through it is like going through a wall. But sometimes in games, you want to collide, but you don't want that physical impact. Okay? Have you ever seen or heard of a game having like a trigger? It's invisible. And if you walk through it, if Master Chief in Halo walks through it, we're going to spawn these enemies to come down and fight the player. Or Mario is running through a stage, and Mario is going to run to this area, and like a Lakitu is going to spawn and start throwing down stuff on Mario. Okay? That's what we refer to as a trigger. And so that's why I called this a trigger. It's an object, a game object, that is not going to be visible, and it's not going to have any physical collisions, but it will detect that something has touched it. Okay? And that's exactly what we want. Okay? When the ball crosses this plane, we want to do some stuff. We want to detect that event. So we want to do some stuff. Interactions are how we do that in this particular Unity project. So I'm going to just type interaction here. We got all these cool things we could do. For testing purposes, I just want to print a message. So let's do that. I'm going to click on that interaction message, and we get 2 components instead of 1, right? 2 for the price of 1. I tried to add only the interaction message component, but for some reason I got the interactable game object component too. What is going on here? Well, the homework explains it, because this is a really important concept. But whenever you have any sort of interaction on a game object, that game object is going to get the special interactable game object component. The engineering team demands it. Okay? Because this component right here is what actually makes the little cursor pop up. You know how when you walk toward an interactable object like the toad over here, you get the little mouse to show up, right? Actually, let's just make sure that actually happens. So let's walk over there and just make sure it pops up so you can kind of see what's going on. I'll make the screen a bit bigger so you can see it. When I walk up to the toad, we get this really important little mouse cursor that tells you can interact now if you want to. But actually, if I go and I turn it off, if I go to this toad and I find its interactable game object and I turn it off, I don't know if it's going to come up. It doesn't even come up. Yeah, there we go, right? So actually, this is a pro technique. If you're ever confused about how something works or what something does in Unity, turn the thing off and observe what has changed. That will tell you everything you need to know about what it was doing, okay? So this is a really good tip. By the way, you're going to end up in code bases and in projects where the engineering team didn't explain things very well, and you don't have a professor to kind of lead you through it, no homeworks, no documentation, or the documentation is written in Japanese, so you can't read it, okay? And so what are you going to do? Well, this is what you have to do. You have to get good at figuring things out by turning stuff off and on and just kind of paying attention to what happens, and you'll develop a feel for what's going on that way, okay? That's a really universal technique. Anyway, that's what the game object does, but if you walk over here, we got a big problem still. Oh, hello, Snake. How's it going? Okay, one of my proudest moments in like developing the technology for this course is that when you bring in a model, assuming you've set it up decently well, you set up the model for single player, but it just works in multiplayer. You're gonna see when you make a build, oh, like the multiplayer characters also work. I didn't even do anything for the multiplayer side of stuff, right? It just works, right? That was actually, so all the engineers in the class should ask me in office hours how we did this, because it was kind of clever. And it was very interesting. Anyway, tell me what the problem is here. Well, number one, we still have a physical collider. I can't go in here. So you know how I'm going to fix this? I'm going to go to my little trigger object, which is right here. And I'm going to go to the box collider, a sensible place to go. I mean, the box collider is what's making this happen for us. And I'm going to click this little checkbox that is called is trigger. And the tooltip is really great. It says, if enabled, this collider is used only for triggering events, and it's ignored by the physics engine. So I'm going to click on this and then watch what happens now. Can you guess what's going to happen before I show it? Let's go jump into this goal. Okay, ready? Where is it? Here it is. Here we go. And I can go in there now. Good, all right? But actually, we have a bit of a problem. This isn't what I wanted. Because I can click. Oh, it says component on game object trigger. You forgot to provide any messages. Okay, so that we got to provide a message, all right? So I'm going to go to my interaction message. I'm going to open up the messages box, and I'm going to say goal, right? Okay, good. But we still have a huge problem. This is not what the game design wanted. The game design wants us to go through the goal, go through the trigger, and it scores a point. But that doesn't happen. I have to click, and when I click, I get the goal message. So this works for talking to a character like Toad. It makes sense to walk up and click, and now you're talking. Does it make sense to, like, you have to walk up to the goal and click? Like, and by the way, we eventually want the soccer ball to come in here. Does the soccer ball know how to click? No. So, we have to change something here. We do want all the interactions on this object to run, but we don't want them to run when we click. You see, if you look closely, the interactable game object doesn't just handle the little mouse cursor icon popping up. It also lets us change how the interactions get launched in the first place. By default, you have to go up and click. But actually, there are a lot of options we have available. So if you click on this little menu, look at this. We have all of these options. I'm going to end the game. So if you make a change and then end the game, you lose all those changes. So make sure you're not making your game when the game is running. Otherwise, you're going to lose it all, okay? Every student gets burned by that like at least once. So click on this. You can see click to interact is the default. That's what we had. That's good for the toads and the characters, right? But touch to interact is another option. That sounds pretty good, right? So a soccer ball is going to touch this, and then it's going to cause the interactions to start executing, okay? So let's change it to touch to interact and see what happens. So I'm not going to do any clicking at all. I'm just going to run and throw the snake right in here, and we'll see if we get the goal. Okay? And I'm going to let this text get out of here. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. By the way, if you press escape, that usually opens up character select, but if you don't have any characters, you'll just see this instead. It's like, hey, you got the only one. Okay? All right, let's go jump in. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Goal. Sweet. Okay? So you can imagine, well, if we want to spawn in some enemies or change the environment or do anything, when the player walks through a space or change how much fog there is or play new music, we could use this technique to do all of those things. But we have a problem. We have a problem because what we really want to push through there is the soccer ball and not the... What?
Let's do some debug.
How did I go through that? That's not supposed to be possible. Oh, there's a big gap. I left a gap here. Did anyone know that was there?
Yeah.
What, really?
To get the votes, we have to not.
No way. Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool. But I can't get the ball out of here anymore. The ball is trapped. Our debugging session. Okay, what should we do? We could restart the game, or I can press escape. I can go grab the ball. Let me just, come on. I'm going to hit X to kind of get it into global coordinates, and then just, there you go. Done. Fixed. Okay, so I'm going to... What?
Can we get rid of the Y?
I think, oh no. Oh no. I moved the visuals of the ball, but not the actual ball. The actual ball is stuck over here, but the visuals are now off-center, parented to it. So if the ball rolls, look what's going to happen. Oh no. Oh no. Let me show you what this is going to look like. I'll make it a little bit more sane, so it's not quite as crazy. I'm going to try and push this ball around now. I have to push it over here. Look at that. It's just going.
Oh my god.
Oh, goodness. Yeah, good luck, right? This is hard mode. Okay, anyway, I'm going to actually restart the game now because things are getting out of control. So let's, so the trigger is set up. We've changed it to touch to interact. It's going to say goal. Now, I'm going to try to push the ball in there, okay? And I think we're going to find something isn't quite right. So let's go push the ball into the goal, and I'm not going to run to the goal. If we're successful, we're going to see the goal message, okay? Ready? So go in there, and ready? Nice. And another bug. Damn. Awful, okay? This is like, it's kind of funny when it just happens like, you know. But if this kind of thing happens at like 2 a.m., you're like, I really want to sleep, and the damn ball won't work, right? That's when it becomes very unfunny. So what could be happening here? Well, the problem is, right now, our interactable game object is filtering. It doesn't detect collisions from just any object. If you see here, look at this. There's another property. Right below our interaction type, there's something called touchable tags, comma, separated. And right now, the only tag that it will recognize is player. As in, the only thing that can touch the trigger and make something happen is something that has the player tag. Well, if you look at this ball right here, the ball, you see what tag it has? Untagged. It doesn't have any tag. We could give it all these tags. We could give it the player tag, but we don't want to do that, okay? Because the ball is not the player. That would be really weird. Disorganized. Bad idea. If you look at the player, if we search for the player game object, if we look at the player game object, it does have a tag of player. You're thinking to yourself, what on earth is a tag? I've never heard of a tag before in my life. Well, a tag is just a piece of text that's associated with a game object. That is it. Usually it's used for some organizational purposes. You can create new tags and you can give tags to game objects to kind of help you organize those game objects or filter those game objects. So here's what we need to do. We need to give that trigger a new tag. We want to say, well, this trigger is going to not execute when the player is walking through here. It's going to execute when the soccer ball comes through here, okay? And this is comma separated, so I could put soccer ball and player and something else, but actually I don't want anything but the soccer ball tag. Now, this isn't the end of the story because our ball does not have a tag. Our ball doesn't have a tag. Look at it. If you click on the ball, it is currently untagged. So we need to give it that soccer ball tag. We don't have a soccer ball tag, so we have to create one. I'm going to go click plus. I'm going to put soccer ball right in there, save. A soccer ball tag now exists. Now I can go give it to the ball. So we're going to test, and we expect two things. Number one, I'm going to throw the snake in, and the snake should not execute the trigger. Okay, ready? Okay, good. It's not executing the trigger, right? It's not the right tag, and we got another snake hanging out over there. I wonder if that's someone in this room or not. Maybe. Maybe someone watching from home on Twitch. Maybe it's Stephanie in the other room. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to push the soccer ball in, and now we're going to watch. It does have the right tag to trigger this, and goal. Okay, nice. All right, we just made a little soccer game from just a couple components, right? It was that easy. But we don't want to just make a game where you get the goal message if you push the ball in. No, we're making the snake football anime. Okay? We're soccer anime. And so the snake is going to score this goal. And then we're going to do a lot of things, actually. Okay? What should we do? What do you think we should do? I think we should have a fan character that shows up and say, wow, Snake-chan, you are the best. Okay? You are the best. And you're so inspiring. But actually, I want to do a lot of things. I want to spawn some money. Okay? And I also want to let the player progress further in the level. So we should also have kind of an escape, okay? What can we do? Maybe after you score, we spawn in a little platform that takes you to the top of the pyramid, because now you're the top of the animal kingdom now, okay? And so we want to do all these things. How can we do it? Well, I want to have our adoring fan, our little toad over here, and so I'm going to actually copy and paste this toad, and I'm going to rename this toad. I'm going to rename this toad to adoring fan, and I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to say, okay, you can click to interact with it. That sounds great. But actually, I'm going to change its dialogue. I'm going to change its dialogue to, wow, I can't believe it. How do I make this look anime-ish? I'm going to make it like stumbling a little bit. I can't believe it, right? Who knew a snake could score?
You could put a tilde in the first message.
Really?
Right after. Yeah, right after that.
Like that? It even looks like little snakes, right?
Yeah.
How do we do this? Ooh, ASCII. Oh, here we go. Yeah, here's what we want. Okay, hold on. Which one, though?
The second one is cute.
This one? Okay. I feel like it's got to do it more than once. So, okay. All right, cool. So now we have this character, but the thing is, the whole game is broken if we can talk to them before we've scored. So we need this character to spawn in after they've scored. So I'm going to take this character, this game object, the adoring fan. I'm going to check this box, uncheck it, to actually turn the character off. Now, we can't even see the character. This is why naming your characters with a good, memorable, findable name is so important. Because we need to be able to find it in the hierarchy later, okay? Because we're not going to find it just looking in here. So what we need to do is we got to go back to our goal, which I think is down here. Yep, there's the trigger. And this trigger gives us a message of goal, but actually we need it to do another thing as well. We need it to respawn. We need it to make that character game object active, the adoring fan game object. So we have an interaction for this. It's a really, really common one. There we go. Interaction. It's called change active, and it's like one of the first ones in the list if you search. Change active. Why is it called change active? Well, something, a game object can be hidden via that checkbox I showed you, and that's called making it active or inactive. Active, inactive, right? Enabled, disabled. Okay? So we are going to we're going to change the active status of this toad. This adoring fan, and I could either drag it in or I could just search for the name. That's why the name is so important. The adoring fan is going to start by not being there. It's inactive. So where's our adoring fan at? Where is it at? Here it is, right here. And I'm going to make it inactive. And then when we trigger this collection of interactions with the ball going through the goal trigger, we are going to enable that adoring fan game object. And so they're going to appear when the ball goes through the goal, and then we can talk to them like a normal interaction. So here's a big thing. You make a couple tiny changes and then you test. A couple tiny changes and then test. You're always testing. After every little change, you're testing. That is called the iterative design process, and it's the only way to make games with any sort of speed and efficiency. So here we go. Think about what we want to happen. I'm going to push this through the goal, and there we go. Rock and roll. Why did it take so long? We saw the goal message, and then it took a couple seconds for the toad to show up. What's the problem? Well, if you look here, the interaction message right here, do you see the interaction message component? It has a property called delay after message, seconds. This is a delay. After we launch this interaction, after it's finished, it will wait 1.5 seconds before going on to the next one. So actually, we probably want to change this to 0, okay? So let's change that to 0, and this is why you're constantly testing, so you can make these tiny changes really quickly. And you can kind of build up an understanding of what's going on. I'm going to score, and then look at that. Oh, it instantly shows up. It's so cool, okay? And I'm going to walk over to the toad, and it says, wow, I can't believe it. Oh, the emojis didn't really work. Sad. Who knew a snake could score? You are so great, Snake-chan. Thank you. So, there we go. And we could talk to them again. But I want to do other things. I want to spawn some money. I want to spawn like a treasure chest, okay? Let's make a treasure chest real quick. I'm going to make a little object, a cube here. I'm going to make the cube kind of wide. And I'm going to make the cube golden. So it gives us kind of that treasure chest vibes. Do we have like a gold... No, we don't. Okay. So I'm going to kind of go back to my top here. I'm going to go to material. I'm going to create a material. I'm going to call this the gold material. And now I can edit it. The material's right here. Just like I'm editing a material in Blender, I can change some properties, but I can drag in textures if I want to. And I can bring that gold right out here. There's our treasure chest. The treasure chest is going to be interactable. So I'm going to give it an interaction. And what it's going to do is it's going to bring some gold coins into existence. So let's use change active again. When I click, we're going to interact, and we're going to bring a bunch of coins into existence. So I'll search for coin. We got a wonderful coin prefab right here. And so I can duplicate this just a lot, just tons of coins. Nice. And there we go. And I'm actually going to put these coins underneath my cube, my treasure chest, so I can move them all around. I'm going to rename this treasure chest, and now I can just move them however I want to. And this treasure chest is going to enable all these coins. So you watch this. This is kind of interesting. I want to enable the coins, but the moment that I go to try and drag these coins in here, I'm going to lose my inspector. Right? It's very frustrating. I want to drag my coin over here, but if I click on a coin, then I lose my view of the component. So this is a very nice technique, okay? Go to the treasure chest, and you can actually see this little lock. This lock says, hey, no matter what I click on, always show me the treasure chest in the inspector. So I click this lock. Now I can click on all the coins I want, and I'm still looking at the component my treasure chest is using. I can drag all those coins into the treasure chest, and I can open it up so you look at all that. And I'm going to turn my coins off. I'm going to uncheck that little lock, turn them off. Now, what's going to happen, if I walk over to this treasure chest and I interact with it, it's going to spawn all those coins in. So let's go ahead and come over here, and I'm just going to click right over here, and boom, all the coins spawn in just like that. Isn't that sweet? I don't like how I collected them too quickly, so I'm actually going to take these coins, I'm going to raise them a little bit, so I might have to jump to get them. But, you know, all these tiny little things that make a game feel really good, right? You just have to experiment, and you're constantly play testing the game to see if it's what you like. See, look at that. The coin spawn in, and I jump up and just grab them like that. I don't want this treasure chest to just be here. These are my winnings for winning the soccer match. And so I'm going to move this treasure chest to be like right next to the toad. And I'm going to tell my trigger on my goal that, hey, you should spawn in the adoring fan, but also down here, you should spawn in that treasure chest. Okay? And I'll turn the treasure chest off as well. Okay? Rock and roll. Let's test it. Okay, the game is getting more rewarding and more interesting all the time. We got all these interesting little interactions here, and they're making things kind of come to life. Okay, I score, I can talk to my friend here. It's like, wow, you're so great. Go get some money, you earned it. So I can open the treasure chest now, and I got coins, right? All of this just kind of linking together, and we haven't written a single line of code. No code at all. But don't fool yourself. What you're actually doing, believe me or not, you're actually programming. You're not programming with text the way that your computer scientists tend to. But you're definitely putting your own logic, your own thoughts. This should happen, then this should happen, then this should happen. This only happens in case this happens, right? You're putting your own thoughts in a logical way into the game. You are becoming programmers. I said you wouldn't have to do programming in this course. What I should have said is you wouldn't do like the nasty, painful programming, okay? So you're going to do the very nice visual programming with components. And it shouldn't be too bad, okay? It's actually a ton of fun. So the last thing I want to do is I want to let the player escape. So what should we do? Well, you know what? Maybe once the player earns a goal, they spawn in their team, okay, or their friend. And then once you talk to the adoring fan, as a snake, you are just so excited and empowered and emotionally stimulated because you have fans now that actually you can jump very high because you just got that much energy in you. So I'm going to go to the adoring fan. Let's search for the adoring fan right here. We found him. The adoring fan is invisible, but there it is. And after you finish talking with the fan, you know what I'm going to do? Interaction, set gravity. I'm going to set the gravity. I'm going to set the gravity to like a really tiny fraction of what it usually is, so that the next time you try and jump, you're just over the moon, literally. Okay? And maybe this can help us get to the top of the pyramid. Maybe for like a photo op or something. I don't know. Okay? I can jump, but I have the sad little snake jump. And I score the goal. Now, I still have the sad little snake jump, but I can open the treasure chest to make some dough, and I can talk to my fan. And talking to my fan is just going to get me so hyped that now, after talking with my fan, right, I am just, right, this is just a magical moment for me in my career, my sports career. Now, the big problem, I can't get up there. Do you know why? Because I put some barriers there. Because in the Daisy game, I didn't want you getting to the top. Because, you know, the illusion of cool stuff coming out of the pyramid breaks down the closer you get to it. So I wanted to kind of keep you away from it. But, you know, what could we do? What's that? Yeah, I could get rid of the barriers. Is there any other interesting way for us to deal with this? Let me just look through my interactions. Because I'm kind of curious. Character, select, follow. Ooh. Okay, is the fan really an adoring fan if it doesn't follow you? Okay, so here's what I want to do. Okay, think about any anime you've ever seen. I score the soccer goal. The adoring fan isn't just going to sit there and wait for me to walk up to them. What does a true fan do? Yeah, the true fan like sprints up to you. It's like, wow, Snake-chan, you're just the best, aren't you? Right? And so that's actually what I want. That's actually what I think I want to happen. So, how can we do that? I think you will talk to this one, but we're going to have a few characters that are actually just going to always follow you around. So let's go create more adoring fans. This is going to be adoring fan number 2. And we're going to start them kind of far away. And adoring fan number 2 isn't going to talk to you ever, so that's kind of creepy. But they are going to follow you around. So think about what we need to do here. We can use the interaction follow game object component to set up kind of a following behavior. We want this game object, the game object doing the following, is going to be adoring fan number 2, this toad right here. And the game object to follow is going to be the player. If you try and plug the player in here, you're going to notice something a bit strange. There's no player. The player game object only exists when you're playing the game. So we actually have to check this little box. This is going to have the component like find the player game object at the right time, at the right moment. Because the player doesn't actually spawn in until you play the game. So we want ourselves, the adoring fan number 2, to follow the player game object with a following speed of 6 and a back off distance of probably actually 3. Okay, 2 is kind of close. Okay, and we want to look as it moves around. So one question here though is we want this character to come running up to the player. And right now, it's not going to start following until we walk up and click on it. So what can we do? Well, we probably don't want to use click to interact, do we? What else could we do? We could use touch to interact, but that's kind of weird as well. We'd have to go bump into the character to get them to follow us. Okay? We could use approach to interact. Let's do this. Let's do interact on start game. What this means, I think what this means is when the character spawns in, when the character gets turned on, when the character gets kind of started, okay, it will run this automatically. Everything below here automatically, so it should start following us as soon as we turn the character on and we enable them, okay? So I'm going to turn off this adoring fan, and I'm going to go to my trigger, okay, right down here. I got a lot of triggers in this game. And I'm going to add, not only do you spawn in adoring fan number 1 and the treasure chest, but I want adoring fan number 2. Okay, this is 0 indexed, so when you see adoring fan 1, that actually means the second one. If you're a computer scientist, this is very natural to you. If you're not, it looks really weird. Okay, that's just how it is. Okay, let's see what happens. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure what happens. I don't have a ton of this kind of interactions in the Daisy game, so I didn't test it that much. Hopefully it works. Let's see. I don't have any fans. When I score, I expect a treasure chest, a fan that will talk to me, and then another fan that's going to chase me down. Okay? Oh, no. And it's oh, do you want to say something to me? It's no. Also, do you notice anything interesting about this toad? It's the holy toad. It's like a spirit or something, okay? We have this toad, and it's just like it's floating. How do we deal with this? Do any of you know any components that could give this toad gravity or something? A rigid body. Yeah, let's go to adoring toad number 2. Let's give it a rigid body, okay? And boom, there we go. Oh. No! You can double click on game objects to fly to them. So, yeah. He's like, what happened over there? Okay, and it's just dying. Okay, so we're gonna end the game. We're gonna lose the rigid body component. So that was good, but we're missing something else. We went through the floor. So what should we give the toad? We should give it a collider. Exactly. We could give it a sphere collider, a box collider, whatever kind of collider we want. I'm going to give it a sphere collider because toad is kind of like spherical. I think that'll work. Okay. Where did my collider go? Where is it? I can't see it. Is it? What? Where is it? Oh, look at that. What? Why is it that tiny? It doesn't make any sense. Okay. Let's go ahead and make it bigger. I can grab the radius property, and I can just drag it to make it bigger. There you go. It's getting bigger. It's kind of hard to see still, but there you go. And we can actually change the center position and just kind of move it up so that the bottom of the collider kind of aligns with the visuals of the shoes. And yeah, cool. All right. I think that'll work. Wait, is that? Yeah, that's the adoring fan that's going to chase us. Okay. And so let's test it now, and let's see if the adoring fan is going to kind of float for us. Okay, so we got this red text. By the way, do you know what this red text that keeps popping up is trying to tell us? This is the game telling us that our animation situation isn't very good. So we don't have a lot of animations. A lot of animations are missing for this snake character. And there are a lot of variables we're not using in our animation controller to kind of figure out what animations we want to play when. And so this is just the game kind of reminding us that our character, this snake, is not complete. Oh, no. Okay. Oh! Okay, reset. Okay, so let's test this, right? I want to have the adoring fans, and if this works, I'm going to spawn in a ton of toads. I'm going to make a prefab of this adoring fan toad, and we're going to have a mob of toads following us around. Okay? Okay, there we go. And look at that on the ground following us around. If we jump, it tries to chase us. It's so cute, right? Adorable. Maybe we can get it caught on the treasure chest. See ya, sucker. Oh. So one thing you could do is if you wanted to create the infamously reviled escort mission. How many of you have ever seen an escort mission in a game design? It's very common because narratively it makes sense, but from a gameplay perspective, players often get annoyed by an escort mission. So if you put one in the game, don't make it very long and don't make it hard. But we could have an escort mission where this is a very important toad, and we need to make sure they don't get touched by any hazards. And if they get touched by a hazard, we execute the interaction KO player so that the player loses a life if their VIP gets hit, right? So we could do something like that. That makes sense a lot for the part where Daisy's trying to get Luigi out of the tomb, right? That actually would make narrative sense there. But that's really cool, right? Do you see how our game is just kind of becoming richer and richer, right? There's actually a story here. It's a goofy story, but there's an actual story that's kind of coming to life. So what I want to do is, I know it looks a bit weird, but I'm actually going to turn the adoring fan off, and I'm going to give it something called a marker. So I'm going to go to add component, I'm going to type marker, and you can see visible marker in editor. And when I add this, well, it should have turned on and become visible for us. Are the gizmos just not enabled for some reason? All right, well, yeah, there should be like a red little sphere here to help us understand where the toad actually is, but I guess that's just not working. Oh, it's because it's turned off. Okay, well, yeah, that's not super helpful, is it? Okay, anyway, I'm going to get rid of that. Let's do this. I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to go and make another object here because I want a lot of toads that work just like this. I'm going to create a folder in my objects folder just called Adoring Fan, not Adoring Fab. And I'm going to go to my Adoring Fan, the one that follows, and I'm actually going to drag my Adoring Fan right in here, create original prefab, and now I have a lot of Adoring Fans that I can just kind of pull out here, and I can just kind of place them all around. We want them to run from like every direction, okay? This is just the most amazing thing that the town has ever seen. So I'm just going to put some back here, okay, back here and back here. I have a ton of Adoring Fans, and I can actually select them all if I want to kind of see them all, and I can turn them all on just like that. But I'm going to play the game now, and we're going to see, hopefully, a big crowd of characters are now trying to swarm my my snake after I score. Okay, no one cares right now, but we're going to make a name for ourselves in 3, 2, 1, goal. Oh, yeah, that just didn't work at all. What was my bug? Only one Adoring Fan spawned in. But I have all those Adoring Fans. You can even see them in my hierarchy over here. What's the bug that I have? Yes?
Is it when the goal happens, it's only applying to the individual thing?
Yeah, you have to ask yourself, well, how do we make these Adoring Fans spawn in the first place? Remember, the trigger gets touched by the ball, and then the trigger has an interaction which turns on the first Adoring Fan, which we talked to, the treasure chest, and then the second Adoring Fan that follows us. All these other Adoring Fans aren't even in here, so we never turn them on. So I'm going to lock this right here, and I'm going to drag all those other Adoring Fans right in here. Okay, so now we're going to turn all the rest of them on. I unlock the little inspector, and let's see what happens now. Okay, this is why you test constantly, so that you there aren't too many guilty suspects to look at when it comes to figuring out where your bug is hiding. Okay, okay, watch this. Here we go. Here we go. Go, 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 and goal. Okay, and oh my goodness, wow, amazing, right? Isn't this cool? Like, that's very exciting, I think, especially. Oh no,
Oh, Jesus.
they're drunk. So here's kind of a cool thing that we can do. If we do want them to fall over like that, then we just leave it as it is. But you can go to the Adoring Fan prefab. Let's open up the prefab, okay? The Adoring Fan prefab, and if we look at the rigid body, we can go to constraints, which is a little menu. We can freeze the rotation on any axis we want. So the problem is we only want the toad to rotate on the vertical axis. Okay, we only want them to rotate like this. But currently they're rotating on like this axis and this, and they're falling over. So do you know what the vertical axis is in Unity? It's different in Blender. In Blender, it's the z-axis, it's the vertical axis. Yes, and you can look at this gizmo to get a reminder of this fact. The XZ axis is kind of the horizontal plane, but the Y axis, the green one, is the one that goes straight up. So we want to constrain all of our Adoring Fans. That's why we're in the prefab making this change and not on the actual game objects making the change. We're going to restrict it on the X and Z axis. You're not allowed to rotate on those axes. So now let's go play it again. And again, the most important thing here is probably that iterative design, right? You make a tiny change, you play, tiny change, play. There's always a tiny thing that's off, but it's only a tiny thing, thankfully. So you can fix it and then you can test it again. This is how you move really fast. Okay, so isn't this awesome? I love how they run from behind the camera, right? It's so exciting. We could give them all their own dialogue and you could spend a few minutes like chatting with them and they'd be just really exciting. Isn't this awesome? The snake is like in heaven right now. Yeah. So notice they're jumping on top of each other just to get closer to me, which is really a good feeling. But they are not rotating on anything but the y-axis. So it looks pretty decent, actually. I'm going to talk to this other fan. It says, wow, amazing. You're so great, and I'm just going to leave them behind. They're trying so hard to keep up with me. So we turned gravity down, which means that anything else that's jumping also enjoys that reduced gravity. I'm going to land right over here. Why are the crowns gray now? In preparing your testbed Unity project, I accidentally deleted the crowns texture.
Oh.
So that's why, if you're curious. Some of the toads are trying to jump. Look at, they're trying, but they can't quite get up. This is some actual story building going on, okay? Like, this is so charming.
Oh,
Go! Oh, no! Snake chat!
It's like where's the
They're like
World War Z?
They're like the
Yeah, it's World War Z. Wasn't there, wasn't there more than this? I feel like there were more than this.
Did they push each other under?
I don't know.
are they stuck in the goal?
So what should we do, actually? Yes.
Oh no.
I was going to say, what would you do if you were confused and you wanted to understand the scene better? You press escape, you press pause, and now you're just back in scene view. You can actually fly around. If they are under the stage, like they fell through the ground, we could actually start clicking and we could discover this fact, okay? So never be afraid to pause the game and just take heed of what's going on. That's really going to be very helpful for you. So I think we're halfway through lecture, and I don't have a lot of prepared material. So what I'm wondering is, what do you want to know about how all of this works? What are you confused by? You know what I want to do? I want to create a character that's just always doing something. Or I want to create a character that walks in a path, okay? And I want to create a thing that you can collect. So I think we should take 5 minutes for our break. And when we come back, I'm going to show you how to do an inventory item, okay? So collecting stuff is really fun for players. Like, human beings just generally love this, sometimes too much, actually. And so I'm going to show you how to do that when we come back. I'll show you how to do moving platforms, which can also be like moving hazards, moving spikes, moving whatever you want, a moving character. And we'll do some other stuff. If you have any requests on what you want me to show you, then let me know, okay? Anyway, 5 minutes. I'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay. Oh? Oh, audio. Okay, so we're just about back into it. If you're curious about this interaction system, again, it's not something that Unity just gives you out of the box. If you just open up a new project in Unity, like that rollerball, you're probably not going to have all these interaction components. They probably won't work unless your engineering team gives it to you. And one of the reasons this exists for you is that I made it for Greek tragedy years ago. And I learned a lot of lessons about how to make it really well and effectively a long time ago. So this is some footage of Greek tragedy like years back. I mean, I think this is years old, like 3 years old at this point. Oh my gosh, how time flies. And you can see as Amy, the main character, is kind of running around this environment, different things you can interact with, right? Different things you can look at, get a little bit of lore from, or things you can collect, puzzle objects you can interact with, are going to start to like glow. You get the little A button showing up in front of this kind of messed up, yeah, this is just a hint I put into the game because people weren't getting the room number puzzle here. Dialogue shows up. And you can try and unlock the door, but there's some notes, so you get to read the note, right? It's been ruined by a tear. You can grab objects, you can interact with things, you can input different words, you can do dialogue, okay? All of this stuff comes from having an engineering team that has kind of done this stuff before. And again, if you find yourself on a team and it doesn't have this kind of technology, you have to ask for it as artists. Or if the engineering team can't provide it, you have to ask them, well, what can you give me? Okay, I can't program, but I can build interesting puzzles and logic and put it into the game, interesting interactions, if you give me that kind of cool stuff. So you have to go out and ask for it, all right? What did we talk about earlier? Well, we talked about, okay, we want to have maybe some inventory items in our game. So what kind of inventory item would be really cool? I have an idea, okay? I have an idea. I'm not sure if it's going to work, but you know what I want? I want a big trophy, okay? I won the soccer match, so I want a trophy. So let's go find a downloadable trophy. And this one looks kind of cool. Looks kind of high poly, though. I'm a bit scared of it. How about this one? This one looks a little bit more tame, okay? So let's learn a little bit more. I'm going to... sometimes it just doesn't, like, listen to me when I click. So I actually have to right-click and open in a new tab, and then it will listen to me. And so this was made by Gimme the Gucci, and CC Attribution is the license. So I could sell this, even. If I wanted to, I could put this in a game and I could sell it. But you know what we always have to do? If you use stuff from the internet that you didn't make, you know what you always have to do in this course?
Credit.
Yeah, you got to provide credit. So I want you to go into your file, search for the credits.txt, which is right here. It's right at the top. You're going to open this up, okay? Open this up. It's going to open up in Visual Studio. It's kind of heavy duty for just editing some text, huh? I'm gonna grab the name. Okay, Gimme the Gucci is the name of the person who made this, so we got to give them credit. And I'm gonna go to my text editor, whatever it happens to be. I'm gonna say trophy. I'm not gonna go buy. I'm gonna go CC buy because that tells you what the license is. Buy Gimme the Gucci. And I'm going to then go grab the link, okay? So you're hitting kind of all the really important stuff here. You're saying who it's by, what you're talking about, who it's by, the license, so CC attribution, CC by. You could also provide a link to the license or just the name of the license if you want. And then how do I find it? And then boom, I hit save. And now, as far as we're concerned in this class, you can now use this if you want to. Some of your homework assignments and your final project is going to have some requirements for things you literally built from scratch. But we're also going to let you use some things you find as well, because that's a very big part of game dev. going out and finding great things and bringing them in a way that really makes them click, right? Makes them feel cohesive. What? I don't have permission?
Uh-oh.
What? Since when do I need permission? There we go. It was just a bug, okay? It didn't realize I was logged in, so I had to refresh the page. Oh, all these file formats are awful. What the? Yeah, none of these will work. None of these will work in Unity. So you know what I have to do, actually? I actually have to go in and I have to unzip it, bring it into Blender, re-export it as something usable. What on earth? Oh my goodness. What a pain in the butt. Well, here we go. I mean, a big part of this entire course is just helping you figure out how to deal with these things, because I kid you not, a lot of people would give up right here and say, well, yeah, I guess I have to find a different trophy. No, we're going to use this trophy, okay? If it kills us, we're going to use this trophy. So let's bring this in here, and I'm going to go ahead and import this. And you say, well, where is it? Well, you know that sometimes the thing you import is super small. So I'm going to click it in the outliner view, go to view, and go to frame selected. I still can't see it. Where's this thing? What is it? Can I go into edit mode and see anything? Yeah, there's got to be something here. Do I got to zoom in like crazy? Oh, goodness. It might actually kill us to use this. Is it, wait, is it too big? Okay, so this model has two problems. It was too big, and look at this. It's not even centered. The model's supposed to be over there in the center. Okay, what is going on? So, all right, you know how to kind of deal with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of move this over. I got to zoom out a bunch so we can find the trophy again. I'm going to make it easy, go to one axis, lock to the y-axis, going to kind of move it over to the origin. And then now you can see that little orange dot right there. It thinks it's centered over there, but I'm going to click on this object, go to Object, Set Origin, Origin to Geometry. Now it makes a lot of sense. The origin is right there in the center. If we were really, if we were really careful about this, we could say we want the origin to be at the cursor, so at the bottom of the object. That's often very useful, actually. So now the origin of the object is the bottom. It's actually a decent, reasonable size now. It's kind of a big trophy, but yeah, we'll make it a little bit smaller. Okay, maybe like that. It's still a big trophy, but that's all right. Now we'll export it as something useful. That usually means FBX. We could export it as Blend, and I always have a trouble with Blender's file system explorer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Objects. Go to Prefabs, Resources, Objects. I'm going to right-click, create a folder just for the trophy. I'm going to go into it. I'm going to right-click here, Show and Explore. That gives me this nice grabbable address, and I can just kind of go back to Blender and just kind of paste it right in. So Export and FBX, and I'm going to paste it right in. Oh, too easy. I do actually have to, for some reason it put me not in the folder I wanted. So, wait, where's trophy? Oh, there it is. Okay. And I'm going to name this trophy.fbx. All that work just to get the thing into the program. Well, the thing is, it might take you a good bit of time to do this, but other people can't do it in any capacity at all. And they will just give up. You won't have to give up. And my trophy is upside down. That's just great. Okay, it looks good when I drag it out. Sometimes the thumbnails just don't reflect how the actual object is. This is way too big, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the scale factor, import settings for the model. You've done this in the homework, not a big deal. That looks really good, actually. I think that looks fantastic. It's going to be viewable. The materials are broken, so that's not super great. So I'm going to extract the materials so I can mess with them myself. And I'm going to just grab the material, and I'm going to just make it a gold color. I don't even care to go and grab the texture because I don't think I need it. That looks pretty good, actually. So I'm going to just let it be there. I'm going to grab this trophy. I'm going to bring it into my folder. So now we have a prefab. Okay, we have the trophy.prefab and trophy.fbx. We want those kind of separate. The prefab is going to be much easier for us to work with. So we can kind of do stuff with this now. I want this to spawn in when we have gotten a goal. and I'm actually going to have it spawn in right on this side. Since the toad and the treasure chest are over here, I'm going to put the trophy over here. Now, what can I do to make this thing collectible? A collectible item. Well, again, if you have an awesome engineering team, and I feel like it sounds like I'm flexing. I'm not trying to. This is a realistic thing, okay? If you have a cool engineering team, you can talk to them, hey, I want to do collectible items. And they'll say, oh, we just made a component just for you, just for that situation. You're going to search for item, and look at that. You got an inventory item component right there. It's not an interaction, okay? And it's just a normal component. You put it on, and it becomes collectible. Well, the first thing you have to do is you have to give it an item name. If you don't give it an item name, guess what's going to happen? You're going to get a message, an angry message from the engineering team, okay? Because the engineering team is worried that you might create an inventory item but then forget to give it a name. So if you look here, the first message yelling at you is, it says, inventory item component on the game object trophy says you forgot to give the inventory component a name. And if you can't read this in time because there's too much and it fades out, you can go to the console view and look at that. It's all here in the console as well. So we need to give it a name. You can just give it a trophy, and capitalization doesn't matter at all. The engineering team also thought you might mess that up, where you capitalize it in one place, but in the other place you use a lowercase t. It doesn't matter, okay? So you can do either. But so the defaults here, item name is trophy. You collect this by coming near the object. The reason this is a checkbox, I think we might create an interaction that has you collect things. So you could uncheck this if you don't want it to be collectible by just walking nearby. The collection distance is 4. The back off distance is 2. The follow speed is 9, so it won't have any problem following most characters. You can decide what happens to this when you die. So does the item reset when you die? The answer is yes. You drop the item if you die. Okay, and the item just goes back to where it started. Or if you run out of lives, you can reset it. You can let the player collect it even if they're dead. They'll keep the item, but if they run out of lives, they lose it. And you can decide, does the item get destroyed or just reset like normal, back to its normal place if it ever gets used? So we don't care about any of this because we're not going to be dying out here. This is not a violent anime. And so I think we're fine. So let's go ahead and just run over and see if we can pick up the trophy, and then we can figure out how we're going to make it spawn in if the player scores the goal. So look at the trophy over there. It's just bouncing up and down. It's just begging for the player's attention. And if we run close to it, something interesting is going to happen. It's going to run to you, and then it's going to kind of follow you around, which is kind of neat. Now, one super cool thing, and this is me kind of just forcing my aesthetic preferences onto your projects. But if you have multiple items, like Snake, if you want to be the best like no one ever was, you have to actually collect all 5 trophies from the local soccer rivals. And so you actually have to get 5 trophies to win the game. Well, if you go and collect one item, it'll follow you. But if you collect other items, they'll form a chain, a conga line of following you automatically, right? Which is kind of fun, I think. In fact, you know what you could do? Now, this is not super nice, okay? Maybe if you do this, don't tell you I told you could do it. But you can treat characters as if they are objects that you can collect. So these could be toads, literally, like characters you're saving in the environment. And you just put inventory item on them, and now they're following you, and you can like take them to a bridge, and you can trade you can trade a toad like an inventory item, and it becomes the toad that fixes the bridge and spawns the bridge in. You could actually make that happen. It's just going to be kind of awkward putting the inventory item component onto like an actual character, but it could work really well for you actually. So that's kind of cool, isn't it? All right, so I've got, I was too lazy. I was thinking about making like a menu that opens up and you can see the object in the menu. But then I said, I'm going to be lazy. I'm just going to have the items follow you. And that's what it means for them to like be collected. Okay? So anyway, there you go. Might be kind of fun. In any case, all these trophies are just sitting out here, which makes no sense in the plot. So what I want is I want this trigger. We keep coming back to the trigger. You know what? I want another toad. Okay, I want another adoring fan. And I'm going to actually bring them over here, and I'm going to call this the adoring fan with trophies. And this adoring fan with trophy is going to say something like, "You truly are the best, Snake Chen."
It's really
We took the trophies from all the other winners, and we'll give them to you instead. Enjoy. Okay. And we're not going to set the gravity on this one. Actually, we're just going to use that really powerful change active component, which is going to, I'm going to lock this so I can actually click on those trophies without losing my inspector view over here. And I'm actually going to just drag the trophies in. And I'm going to say I want to not disable the trophies. I want to enable them because all these trophies, uncheck my little lock, are going bye-bye. Okay? And this toad is not going to spawn in. We have to tell the trigger to, turn on all these other objects, but also turn on that adoring fan with the trophies. Okay? And there we go. So, let's see what happens, right? So, okay, everyone thinks you need to make the biggest game in the world today. It has to have a huge open world. It has to have 30 hours of content. Okay, what none of our game studios seem to understand right now is that the key word of 2025 is density. D is for density. You don't need to have a big world, but you need to have one that feels rich and interactive. There's lots of characters, and when you interact with them, when you do things within the world, interesting things happen. It's a very responsive world. So, what we have now, we're just getting more and more density. In a small area, there's just all these interesting things that can happen. I can score a goal. I get all my fans. I can talk to this fan. And then I get tons of, I can jump super high, right? I'm on cloud 9. I can talk to this fan and I've got a trophy coming my way, okay? But you truly are the best, Snake Chan. We took the trophies from all the other winners and we said, you're the only one that matters. So we're going to give them to you instead. Enjoy. And now I can collect all these trophies. And I can just live that dream life, right? We could play some music. We could have some really great music that really makes us feel like champions. We could do all sorts of amazing things. And so what I want to do now, actually, is we should probably have a platform that causes you to be lifted up into the heavens, okay? You are going to go up in the kind of winners podium. You are ascending into the heavens, literally. And so I'm going to have this platform. I want this platform to platform to the heavens. Okay? And I want this platform to move. I want to go up, but we have to be careful. I want to come down again in case I don't catch it on time, right? So I want to move this object. Well, there's a component called move on path. There's also an interaction called transform move. I actually want the move on path one right now. And when I open this up, you're going to see it's really powerful. I can say I want it to take 5 seconds to go from here to here. But how do I decide where I want it to go? Well, I need to create some more objects. Because you see here, we have a little list called path points. And I'm actually going to take this platform, I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm also going to remove everything from it, because the only thing I really need here is I need a little marker, a game object that's just like a little marker. So I'm going to call this path to the heavens marker, and I don't even need the mesh filter. I just need a transform. I can't see it, so now I'm going to add that marker thing. So now I can actually see these little red dots that are going to kind of help me understand what's going on. And I can just create a little path here. I'm just copying and pasting these objects. I want it to go all the way up. And then once it rises to the heavens, way up here, I want it to actually come around and tour the pyramid. Okay, so we better make it around this. But we better not miss our flight, okay? Because this is going to be like, it's going to be a long wait if we miss this flight. So I'm going to actually create this path that goes all the way around the pyramids. It's just beautiful spiral around the path here. Hopefully I don't like run into any of the invisible barriers. And then it's going to come back down right over here, maybe. Okay, it's going to come back down. Okay, so circle around and then back down. And I need to take all these markers and I need to actually put them into this list. So if I click on a marker, I'm going to lose my little list. So I'm going to click the little lock so I don't lose it. I'm going to select all of them, shift click, and I'm going to bring it right in here. Look at that big list. And I don't need to put the last one in because I actually have a checkbox that says initial position should be added to the path at the end. So it's going to kind of close the path for us. We can see this really cool loop. Look at this. Man, engineering team did a great job, right? You should definitely treat your engineering team if you ever see them. Treat them to a good eval, maybe. I don't know. And you can see exactly what loop we're going to get here. The last thing I want to do is I want to make sure that this starts off being kind of disabled. And I want to make sure that the trigger is going to enable this just like it does all the other things. So let's add right in here, heavens. Oh, no. I'm looking at the wrong one because of this little lock. You have to be careful about the lock, okay? If you leave it on accidentally, you're going to be editing an object that you don't think you're editing. So I'm going to turn that off, and now I'm looking at the trigger again. There we go. So now I can add the path, or heavens. Heavens was it? Yeah, platform to the heavens. There we go. Okay, there we go. So let's see what happens. So sometimes you're just going to have lots of bugs, actually. So you have to try a few times before you get exactly what you want. But you can always come to office hours, or you can ask online. And where did platform go? Where is it? Whoa! Oh my goodness! No way! Whoa! It's like coming shooting. It's like Superman.
You gotta catch it.
How are we going to catch this thing? So hold on a second. I think if I jump at the perfect time, maybe we have a chance. Oh, no, it's just going too fast. I think it went through us, actually.
Yeah, I think it went straight through.
Okay, all right, everyone, we got a big problem. So I'm going to go to my platform to the heavens. You see that property? It's doing the entire circuit in 5 seconds. Like that's not what we want, probably. Let's do like 25. So the pain here is that, like, if we miss it, we're going to have to wait for 30 seconds or so to catch it again. But yeah, oh well. Whatever. Just makes the wait more worth it. I guess you could create a second platform. What on earth? It just warped away. Here it comes. It's coming fast, but I think it's going to be a good speed for us. So, yeah. There we go. Oh, no! I think it went through us. This is very frustrating. So what happens if we do something like we give the path a rigid body, but we turn its gravity off? What's going to happen then? I'm going to make its collision detection higher quality. So let's go continuous, and I'm also going to actually slow it down a little bit. Let's go like 50 seconds. And yeah, let's not miss this one if we can, because yeah. Some of these components, I guess you kind of have to work with a little bit, and you have to experiment to get it to work exactly the way you want to. Get the ball in there, and I'm going to jump over here quickly as I can. Maybe the toads will come with us. I don't know.
With the components that we have, would it be difficult to just make it so that the platform moves when we jump on it? Or would that take a lot of customization for something on it?
Yeah, so it's not an interaction. It could be an interaction, right? So maybe I'll upgrade everything, and it could be made into an interaction so that it won't start moving along its path until you touch it or until you talk to a certain character. But
then you could have like a valet or something.
yeah. Damn. Okay, so this is a pain in the butt, actually, to use. Let's try is kinematic. Yeah, so you can see, right, I'm probably going to have to upgrade this component a little bit more because really when it gets enabled, it should start along its path. But what's happening is as soon as it's enabled, it calculates where its path should be, and it does that I think because of the multiplayer. Oh no, don't talk to me. Okay. Okay, we're going to take the trophies up, by the way. And this is the last thing we're going to do. I could make this feature a lot easier for the game designers, for the artists, for all of you to use. Because right now, I think the engineering team actually messed this one up. But this is actually the component that the platforms in the tomb use. Okay? And I'm just going to kind of... our trophies are following us here, but our toads are like, no! Come back! We love you! Okay. It's also hard with this character. So with Daisy, she's a better made character because it's very obvious like where the center of her character is. Remember, the pill is actually back here in like the middle of the snake body, so it's kind of hard to understand if you're going to fall off or not. We're just riding and enjoying our victory lap. We could play some great music right now. And yeah, so I think the takeaway here is it's really fun actually to build these little interactions and these little bits of logic. You can do it without too much pain. I guess this one is kind of painful. But you can build a really rich, deep, interactable, dense world and interactions that make you develop a bond for the characters and the universe and the story just using a handful of components, okay, and different ways to trigger them, and different game objects triggering different chains of components to do different interesting things. And so I hope you will look at this and get excited for what the future holds. On the homework, you're going to do some of this. And so start the homework if you can. Don't be intimidated by programming. Okay, C# is a big pain in the butt. But actually, if you actually take the time to learn C#, we're not going to have you do that. You don't have to do that. You're going to find that it's basically just what we did today. But there's some extra features that give you a bit more control, and there's some bits of text you have to memorize, like an actual language. But it's a lot of just what we did today. It's not that bad at all, really. But it does take some time to get into and memorize some stuff. So think and look at the toads. Like they're like, some are coming from that way around the pyramid, and some are coming from, and that one's given up. Okay, not really, but it kind of looks like it has. But think about what kind of stories and what kind of really fun, charming interactions you could create for your story using this small toolbox of components, because that's what you're going to have to do to make a game that your friends and family and your peers are going to love, okay? You'd better believe that the games you're going to make in the next few weeks, oh yeah, everyone's going to be playing them. In fact, next week, we're going to have people playing your games. And I'm not entirely sure how that's going to look, but basically as you complete the homeworks and do your own versions of this, your own characters, your own story, your own environment, you are going to submit that to a Google document. And then the next week on the homework, you're going to have to play about 5 different games of the people in the course. And you're going to have to record yourself doing that. Now, the flip side of this is that whatever you make, you're going to see at least 5 people in footage reacting to it and playing your game and offering suggestions, right? It's going to be really fun. At the end of the course, your games are going out to everyone, the internet, the public. So everyone's going to be playing your game, and, I think it's going to be awesome, okay? Do the best you can. Be fun, be funny, be charming, and, I think you're going to have a great time. Because I'll tell you, I thought this lecture was going to be a disaster, but this was actually really fun building this with you. So I hope you have that much fun as well. And if you're not, let me know. And if you have components that you're like, this is a really hard component to use, like this path component was really hard for us to use. We had to experiment a lot to make it work right. Let me know, because that's the kind of thing I can go in and actually fix. I'm your engineering team, everyone. So if you've got feature requests, pretend that you're on an actual game studio, okay? And if the component isn't working, you actually need to go talk to the engineering team. Say, hey, I'm trying to do this. Look at this footage. It's not working. And I want this cool new feature, and maybe the engineering team can get it for you, okay? Maybe. Probably this semester I might struggle, because especially if it's one person requesting a feature, maybe I can do that. But I'm going to get 80 plus requests. I'm just dead, okay? I can't do anything. So anyway, that's all I've got for you. So we'll see you next week on Monday. And next week on Monday, we're going to get into a more complex character. The only character you're making and importing fully this week is Tofu, who you learned about on Monday. Not a hard character. Next week, you're going to do Daisy, which is a harder character, quite a bit harder. And you're going to do your own character next week. You're also going to do environmental objects. So this pyramid's going to be gone. It better be gone. Okay, that's my object. You do not have permission to use my object in your game. Okay? Well, if you really want to, you can ask, and I'll give you permission. But you want to think about the theme. Okay, what objects you're going to make, what characters you're going to make, what kind of interactions can get you into the theme. And we're also, next week, we're going to talk about story. So how can we create a story in our game, right? A clear first, second, and third act. Really quickly, in the Daisy game, first act is just getting into the pyramid. That's about letting you practice, jump around with low stakes. You can't die in the first act. And you are getting the story in little narrative bits by talking to the toads and figuring out what happened, right? Luigi went into the pyramid, shouldn't have done that. Now the pyramid's glowing. That's not good. Second act is going through the tomb. It's dangerous. You're learning a little bit more about what happened. Third act is the dramatic escape. It's a good climax emotionally. And then the final victory outside the pyramid with Luigi. You get a little cutscene. You get to see the pyramid is no longer glowing. The story has been capped off. Feels good. Okay? You want to start thinking about that. It's going to make your final project way easier, okay? Way less scary, okay? All right, rock and roll, everyone. See you later. Got 1 hour office hours. You got problems with Unity? Bring them to me right now, okay? All right, everyone online, I will see you later. Bye-bye.